Here it is, the end of October here in upstate Georgia, North Georgia, and it's been pleasant, decent. The leaves are changing. It's still been pretty warm. We've had some good 72, 73 degree days, decent nights, but the cold weather is going to be coming in. So next step is going to be prepping the YXZ for a little bit of free heat. Stay tuned. So in addition to working on the heat on this thing, because it does get sort of cold, and the windshield helps, I don't have an enclosure. Last time we took it out, rubbed against a few trees and broke some lights. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of some of these broken parts. It is getting cooler, so I definitely wanna try to get some heat in this thing. And the way we do that is, well, on the 2019 Plus YXZs, the radiator and cooling fans are up underneath in the rear over here. So the intake scoop is up behind your head in the car. It pulls the air down through the radiator and ejects it out through the bottom. So in the wintertime, easy way to get some heat out of this thing is to actually reverse the fans. So make the fans blow the opposite direction. The heat, it'll suck the air from underneath the car and blow it back into the cab. While it's not 100% ideal, if you had an enclosure, it'd probably burn you out. Those few extra degrees will certainly make a difference. So normal way to do this is we have these adapters, fan reversal harness adapters that I made up. DLP sells them as well. And basically all it does is it goes in line with the fans and reverses their direction. DC motor, easy enough, just reverse the connections. These are good, you don't have to hack into your car's wiring harness. Nobody likes to do that. These just plug right in. So, and I'll show you where they plug in. Down underneath the passenger side rear above the tire, there's a bunch of wiring harnesses zip tied up. I want to go up in here and pull them down, and there's a couple of connections. They're blue wires, blue and black wires with a black connector. These are going to be your fans. These will just, you'll unplug those and put these in line. It will reverse it. Well, what I don't really like about this setup is, let's say it's cold in the morning, you're out ripping, kicking it through the mud, everything else, and then halfway in the middle of the day it warms up and you want to go ahead and take these out. Well, this can get pretty caked and packed with mud in here, and then you're over here with electrical connections, disconnecting them. It could potentially get mud in them. It'd just be an absolute mess getting your hands in here and dealing with it. So I want to be able to control this from inside the car. And I thought a bunch of different ways on how to do this. So I came up with a couple of ideas. My first idea was using motor reversing switches. And the problem with this, while it would work, these switches are not waterproof, and I've not been able to find any of these switches that are waterproof. So mounting it up back here would probably not be advisable, because there's no way to keep the water and mud out of it. If you were to mount this up inside the cab, that means these high tension leads, you'd have to run very long high tension leads all the way back, and it's doable. So I started thinking, how about relays in a sealed box controlled by a single switch? The benefit with this one here is you can control each fan individually. Not that it really matters, but I either want it reversed or not reversed. My second option was 4 relays in a sealed box, 2 for each fan, and then it could be mounted back here sealed very close to the wiring, and then you just have to run a very, very thin cable up into the cab for a single pole switch. I think that's the route I'm going to go because it just makes the most sense to me. After drawing up all these electrical schematics, trying to figure out the logistics of how to wire this, this is going to be the wiring diagram that I'm going to use. And I'll try to clean this up and put it on the screen unless you guys want to try it yourself. If there's a huge demand for this, I may make them up and just sell them as a kit. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I do sell these harnesses as well. It's $30 for the pair, and I'll ship them for free. All right, so this is what I've come up with. Got a box, I got all my relays mounted, everything's wired in properly, and then I've got the leads coming out for in and out on each fan, and then a lead to control the relays, which I will run up all the way to the front to my switch. Now, I used all crimp connectors to connect all my wires together inside the junction box. When I did my reversal harnesses, the little adapters, I soldered them in, and I got a earful from an electronics guy who says that it's not as strong and you definitely just crimp it. So you guys let me know in the comments what you would do, or what's the best way to attach these wires. I would always assume that soldering them would be better, but I'm not an electrical engineer. Let me know down in the comments. Now I'm thinking about mounting this right here. And just pull the fan wires. And then the fan wires can just pull right over the top. Everything will clip in right here. So when trying to figure out the switches for the fans on this, I started looking at the way the previous owner had set this up. So we had this little pod sitting up on top of here with the SSV Works radio, and I just added a few switches in for the winch and some front and rear lights. But I think I want to eliminate that. And what I thought I would do, since I don't really ever use this pocket, although I put a switch in there for my winch, although I never use it, I just leave it on all the time. And I actually have the winch cables unplugged underneath the armrest deal cover. So what I decided I think I'm going to do is I want to build a plate to go over this, and I'm going to house my switches in there. So basically I got this piece of aluminum, fairly thick stuff, and I'm going to go from this to this, which I cut out for a Nylite Jungle website special. It's got 5 switches, USB for your phone, and 12-volt cigarette kind of lighter, charging port deal, and it's got 5 switches on it. So I think I'm going to put that, and that will mount right there. And what I ended up doing was just giving this sort of a brushed look and then clear coating it. So hopefully that looks good. Now, as far as the radio that was mounted in there, I mounted it in this little box. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do here is mount it up here by the roll cage. Although I really don't even want the audio system, I might just pull it out. But if I do decide to do it, I will mount it up here so it's easier to turn it off. I actually never use it. Well, here's the semi-finished project. I think it came out pretty good. Got my winch switch, got my front lights, which would be the LED light bar and the 2 side pods. Got my rear pods. This is a spare for right now, and what that's going to be is interior lights, probably red interior LEDs eventually, and then this will be for my fan reversal. The winch, it's on its own separate circuit. The 3 lights are on battery power, so they will come on with the battery. The last one doesn't do anything unless the key is on. So it'll give us a battery voltage. Got some USB charging. Got a 12-volt power port. And then all these light up when the ignition is turned on. And then I can use this particular switch to reverse the fans when I need to. Now, it's not totally done. I want to do something with this piece up here. I'll probably just sand and paint this gloss black and then just re-rivet it down. And then I still have to just run the wires for the audio system. Well, there it is, all finished up. I think it looks great. The fan reversal works nice, and it actually kicks a lot of heat in here. 209 she comes on. It's pretty chilly out today, so it doesn't stay on for very long, but it certainly kicks a lot of heat. If I had an enclosure, it would be probably unbearable in here, but that's another nice thing about it is if it gets too warm, I can just turn the reversal off and put it back to normal. I ended up doing something a little different. I said I was going to potentially do, oh, there it goes. I wish you could feel the heat coming in. Wow, is that warm. I ended up doing something a little bit different here. I said I was going to put a dome light, but I decided to go with rock lights, and I'll show you those. Thank you guys so much for watching, subscribing. Your support means everything to me. I think it looks nice. I think it's going to work great. You guys let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks again. I'll catch you on the next one.